Let's suppose you have a dream of being wealthy, but right now on your bank account you could see you don't have a lot of money. But here we are, we're telling you to accept the good you want right here and now. The good you desire, that is. Let's suppose you want to build a successful career for yourself, but right now nobody knows about who you are. But right here and now you have to accept the good you desire. If none of this makes sense, if you have difficulty accepting this concept, then through this video I want to approach it and help you understand it a little better, so from this day forward you can start accepting the good you desire, right here and now, no matter the circumstances you're currently facing. Alright, so here we are. We want to accept the good we desire right here and now. When I first heard about this concept, because you can even find it in scriptures as an old ancient text and throughout the years after, there have been many authors who always talk about the fact that we have to accept our desires right here and now. That was a confusing point for me personally for quite some time, and it might be a confusing point for you at certain times in your life, or maybe entirely in general. Because what we're talking about here is that if we're going to accept the good right here and now, we're going to have to be aware of a couple of things. One of them being the fact that there's more to us than meets the eye, the fact that there's more than just our physical side alone. So when a person is in poverty, for example, and we would say to them, you have to accept your wealth right here and now, it might make no sense at first. They might be like, I'm sitting here, I'm looking at my bank account, and there's no money. I'm in debt. I need to pay all of this stuff off, but I don't have the money. Yet you're telling me I have to accept the wealth right here and now. Well, the thing is, you have to understand that there is also a spiritual side to your being. Now, the spiritual side operates independent of the physical circumstances that we face. And that is the place where we want to accept what we want right here and now. Because ultimately, we also have to burn into our minds that again, the only time we have is now. Now, with that awareness in mind, how can it help us? Well, first of all, we'll start to realize that every time we think of the past or we think of the future, in a way, it's kind of like illusory in a certain extent, to a certain extent. Because what's happening there is that if it's the past, you're thinking about something that already happened and isn't even taking place right now. But because of your attention on the past, it feels within yourself on an emotional and mental level like you're re-experiencing certain events. So that is why if you ever feel the need to think of the past, you're better off thinking of good things that happened in your past. Sadly though, most people are thinking about bad things most of the time, and therefore they feel bad. They feel less motivated, less excited about their life and their current state of being. Now, another issue is, again, if we focus on the future, we might miss out on what we could do properly right now in this present moment with the resources we've got. This is why once you start to accept your desires, whatever they are, right here, right now, you'll open up the ways for its expression. Now, this takes some thinking, this really takes some contemplation for most people at first, because it goes against our normal reasoning faculties of the mind, because we're trained. This is something I discussed with somebody else in private as well. It is clear that we're trained from the moment we're born to focus on the physical side of life, and we have to know how things will work out for us. And if we don't know right away, then the goal might as well be considered a silly, unrealistic and impossible a goal to set to begin with. So right now, here you are, you have certain desires that you want to fulfill in your life. You may not know how to achieve them, but yet we still say to you, accept them now. Now, in order to do this, you're going to have to understand what it means to accept something. Have you ever considered that? If you're supposed to accept your desires right now, in this present moment, what does it really mean? What does that really mean? Because at first you might reason, well, that might mean that I should accept, physically speaking, the desire, but I can't see where it will come from, so that makes no sense, right? Concerning the case of money or building a successful career, you start out with no buyers, customers, viewers, whatever. No people are supporting you right now because you're just starting out. But yet you're supposed to accept all that success and wealth and well-being and joy that you want for yourself right here and now. Okay, what does it mean? Well, in order to accept something in this manner, we're talking about accepting it inside consciousness. So you open up your consciousness to the possibility of that desire. Now, another way of putting that is that I would say you open up your mind automatically by imagining the fulfillment of your desires already, because you're allowing your mind to expand in that direction through this action, through this activity. Now, once you do that, once you start doing that on a daily basis, you're in the process of allowing yourself to accept the good you desire, first and foremost in the inner world of your own being, in your own imagination, thought, and emotions. Have you been accepting your desires in that manner? Yes or no? Because the sad part is most people don't do that, because we're so used to only focus on the physical side of life. We literally live under the assumption that that is the only part to us. But yet you can imagine, you can think, you can feel independent of your circumstances. This is proven by the fact that it's possible that in so-called chaotic circumstances, physically speaking, a person is still able to imagine something absolutely wonderful and marvelous. They are still able, if they put in the effort, if they put in the work, to feel great, even though the circumstances might be absolutely horrible. This shows that this inner part of our consciousness works independent of the physical side of life. Now, this is what we're going to have to work with in order to accept the good we want right here and now. So that's what you really want to take into consideration. So no matter what your desire is, no matter what you want to achieve, what your dream is all about, you must accept it right here and now in the inner world of your own imagination, thoughts and emotions. We have a tendency to assume something will take a while before we achieve it, but as long as we approach our dream from this angle, it keeps being delayed, when we could enjoy the essence of the dream right here and now. And as we can assuming it with this attitude, it will move into form, and we are unable to worry or doubt whether we can realize it or not. Now, this is so vitally important right here. This tendency to always assume that it's probably gonna take a certain amount of time before I'll be able to achieve my dream. Again, no matter what it is, just analyze your own life. I know you've done this. I have done this, even though I've studied metaphysics for some decade now, at least 12 years actually. It can still happen if I don't watch out. That's how programmed it is inside of our consciousness to do this. So no matter what your dream is, have you been considering, okay, it's probably gonna take so long that it's almost like overwhelming if you think about it. Perhaps it doesn't feel overwhelming, but you're like, it will take me a couple months or maybe a year. This is gonna be so much work, and then you're not really accepting your desire in the right way. We want to approach it from a different angle, because as long as we use this angle that it's going to take a long time, well, it's like we're also causing it to be delayed for a long time by that attitude of mind. So what do you want to do instead? Well, you want to understand that by accepting the dream right here and now, mentally and emotionally, you are accepting the essence of the dream. Because there is actually no difference between the physical realization of your dream and the inner experience you could have right here, right now, no matter what your circumstances are. You see, you set your dreams, you have these goals in your life because you feel like they would make your life more meaningful and more happy, and you would feel more joyful and more good about life and perhaps yourself for achieving such a thing. But that is the physical side that would do that for you. What we want to understand is that we can already get in touch with the energetic essence of any dream right here and now through our consciousness. And there's actually no difference there. All those feelings you hope your dream will give you once it is achieved, you can already feel, even though you haven't physically achieved it yet. Once that dawns upon you, once you grasp the power behind that attitude, you start to realize that your doubts and worries melt away. This is what happened for me, and it keeps happening. I've clearly measured that as long as I keep the mood alive within my own consciousness of my wish fulfilled, well, then there are no doubts and worries concerning whether my dream will be achieved or not, because in reality, I'm already in touch with the essence of my dream anyway. Of course, if I were to achieve it physically, then you and other people might also enjoy the success that I've generated, or at least perhaps admire it, or you might not like it. I mean, that happens all the time. People will admire or dislike what you do. But then you and others can be involved as well on the physical side of life. But yet, we're talking about my dream here, and we're talking about your dream. It's never about what other people think. It's about what we individually think of our dreams. So how are we using our minds right here and now? This needs to be constantly in your awareness, whether you're using your mind against you or whether you're using it for you. And this is such a subtle thing that most people miss, and that is also why they mess it up. That is why they stay stuck in life. Because again, this is another tricky issue that we're facing. Let's say you have a big dream, it's a wonderful dream, and your friends and family might be almost laughing at you for hearing what the dream is. Because from their angle, they think it's impossible for you to achieve it. They don't see any evidence that you will achieve it, so to them it must be impossible and silly that you even set the goal. However, they are not the ones that need to be in harmony within their own consciousness with the dream, because it's your dream. Always understand this. This is something I've noticed for myself as well over time. When I was younger and studying these ideas, the tricky part for me personally was that I was always thinking, well, I can feel the dream, I can imagine it, but then I would still allow the fact that other people around me perhaps couldn't see it and imagine it in the same way, so they might give me limiting ideas, they might give me contradicting statements concerning my dream. Again, based on what we just described, how it might not be possible for me, or that I must be kind of delusional or whatever. You see, that is still kind of letting the outside world control your own mind to a certain extent. So this is another element you want to get rid of. In this case, what you want to learn to do is simply accept the good you desire right here and now within your own heart and consciousness, and let it express with and through you, as we always say. And this process means that you would have to learn not to let other people's opinions dissuade you any longer. Even though your friends or family might not see evidence that you could achieve your dream, you must be in harmony with your own dream. And you do this by using your imagination in the right way, by feeling the wish fulfilled. By using your imagination and feeling in this way, you automatically start to think differently as well. The thinking is where the ideas start to come up, where you start to attract and become aware of the ideas that you could act upon in order to manifest the dream from your current circumstances. This is so powerful, yet most people never grasp it. I hope you do, because once you do, your life will change drastically. That is the beauty of it all, if you learn to accept the good you desire right here and now. So consider these points very well and analyze your own life. Where are you messing it up? Are you still feeling doubts and worries whether you can achieve your dream? Because you don't need to feel that way. It is not part of winning, it is not part of achieving dreams. You might think, well, this is part of the price I have to pay to doubt and worry. No, because doubt and worry are contradicting states of mind. You want to get rid of them entirely, and you're allowed to do so. You don't have to feel like a limited human being, like someone that couldn't really achieve their dreams, because perhaps you were raised in that manner, or perhaps your peers told you this over and over again and you started to believe in their words. You want to start to believe in your own imagination, because the imagination will set you free if you accept its blessings right here and now and allow them to move into form with and through you right here and now from your current circumstances. Even though you have no clue perhaps on where to start, by this attitude of mind, you will grow the way towards its realization automatically. Over a certain period of time, you become aware of more and more approaches and things you could do and should be doing in order to express that dream right here and now. Because the only time you have is now. It's another tricky thing to wrap our heads around. Because the fact is, even if you achieve your dream next week from now, for example, physically speaking, once it's next week, from your point of view, it's still the present moment. It's still only now. The only time you have is now. That's the beauty again of it as well. You don't need anything but this present moment and your own awareness and using your own imagination in the right way. Now take this all to heart and work with it. You can do this. And with that being said, dear viewer, never forget that we are the dreamers.